This time on Rad Rat Comics, we're going to be talking about a new hero called Lightning Man, whose powers somehow disable Superman? Welcome back to Rad Rat Comics, a channel all about me reading old, terrible comic book stories and sharing them with you. We have one more from the collection Batman in the 50s. This was the last one that I picked out from that collection. I'm going to move on to something else next time. But his World's Finest number 89. Let's take a look at the cover featuring Superman and Batman in one adventure together, the Club of Heroes. Somehow, our new hero, Lightning Man, must be causing a mysterious effect on Superman. We've got to stop him. Now, I don't want to spoil too much. You'll notice at the cover, eventually you'll notice that the cover could not have happened in the story. This is one of the very, very rare cases where I guessed what the plot was before it ended, or I guessed what the twist was going to be before it ended. Usually that's impossible, because they usually make it up at the last second, or it's some kind of twist that you could never have seen because it's so ridiculous, right? But this is one case where I actually figured out what was going on before it was over. I want to see if you have the same experience. Let's jump into this one. So it starts with all of the great superheroes of Earth being summoned to Gotham for something. Superman is called by a billboard, Batman with the bat signal. In England, there are the Knight and Squire, which are made up just for this. They are summoned as well. There is the Musketeer in France. There's the Guacho in South America. And then there is a ancient Roman soldier superhero that are all summoned. So America has all the good superheroes, of course. Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, all American. But there are other ones in other countries that are canonically always there all the time doing stuff, but they just don't make stories about them, I guess, right? So these guys are always doing stuff. It's just kind of weird that they don't have enough legitimate superheroes to make from other parts of the world to put in the story, so they had to make some crappy ones up. But let's continue. Why are they all being summoned? For a Metropolis millionaire has had an inspiration. Gentlemen, this is John Mayhew, well-known philanthropist. It's he who sent for us all. Yes, you've been summoned here to be honored for your great feats. I built this club for you. And inside, this is the Club of Heroes, and all of you, by your great deeds, belong to it. I'll deed it to whomever you select as chairman. What a gift! This land and building are worth a fortune. Superman is the logical choice for chairman of this club, so make the deed out to him, Mr. Mayhew. Oh no, Batman has done tremendous feats, and so have all these others. One of them deserves the honor. Well, there's only one way to settle the matter. Whoever performs the greatest feats in the next few days will be your chairman. Fine. The visitors can stay right here in the clubhouse. Splendid. Yeah, this is pre-Justice League of America, which these other guys wouldn't have been invited to anyway. But yeah, all the other heroes in the Justice League are not invited to this. But anyway, so it's a Justice League type thing where all the superheroes are going to come together and own this building. But it's in America, but they could theoretically pick the French guy to own this American building. It's very strange, but it's a world's greatest from the 50s, so of course it is. So all the superheroes have to compete to do amazing things. Let's see what happens. So next day, as Batman and Robin return to action in Gotham City. What happened? We were just going to crack that warehouse when... This cargo net makes a fine way to catch crooked fish, Batman. We can take them right to the headquarters. No, we'll just phone police to come and get them. I don't want a lot of publicity on this. I get it. You want Superman to win the chairmanship of the Heroes Club, so you'll keep your own feats quiet. I'm for it. A quick note that just occurred to me as I read this is, how are you going to put Superman and Batman on a deed? Or the Legionnaire, or whoever else they pick, right? It's just going to say Batman. So what happens if Batman's replaced by a new Batman? You know? Does it belong to whoever's currently Batman? Can anyone put on a costume and say, hey, I'm Batman, I'm going to sell this place? It was an interesting thing in Spider-Man, like right when it first started, that was a thing where he tried to enter the contest and he was going to make $3,000 if he could fight that guy. But he couldn't get paid for it without saying who he was, you know? And so, like, that's a big problem. But whatever. That's just not an issue. They're just going to write Superman on a deed and everyone will just respect it and be fine with it, I guess. Let's see what other feats are being done. But others of the hero lawmen have the same idea as they go into action in Metropolis. Luckily, we caught these thieves in the act, but will not claim credit for the capture. See, Superman or Batman should win the chairmanship by rights. My lance vaulting trick works as well here as at home, but it's nothing compared to Superman's feats. True, we can never eclipse him and Batman. I'm not going to try to keep everyone's accents straight in this, so sorry about that. As for Superman himself, on a hill road outside the city, it'll only take a minute to clear the landslide that blocked this road, but I won't report it. Batman and one of the others should be the club chairman. Later, after the Man of Steel has changed to Clark Kent. Now to keep a date with Lois, and good grief, I've never heard such loud thunder. No wonder. A circle of thunderstorms is building up all around Metropolis. A formation like that can cause tornadoes. I better switch to Superman and break up those storms. But suddenly, why, what's the matter with me? I'm growing dizzy. Things getting dark, as though kryptonite were affecting me. But kryptonite, the one cosmic substance that can weaken Superman, is nowhere in sight. My X-ray, telescopic vision, scanning the entire city, can't spot it anywhere, yet I'm passing out. And seconds later, the man who is mighty Superman lies mysteriously stricken down as peril rushes upon Metropolis. In the meantime, where Lois Lane awaits Clark, that's a possible tornado storm pattern. Why doesn't Superman break it up? Don't worry, he will. Just then, wait, that isn't Superman. But who else could fly like that? Who indeed, if not Superman? He's even made himself a giant windmill to blow those storms away, and lightning doesn't hurt him. Afterward, with the storms dispelled, you have superpowers, but no one has ever seen or heard of you before. Who are you? You can call me Lightning Man. And as this new superhero streaks away, I don't understand this at all. Where's Superman? Why didn't he meet that danger instead of this newcomer? Like Superman, he keeps his identity secret, but he's sure terrific. To learn the answer, Lois would have to visit Clark Kent's apartment, where, shortly afterward, whatever happened to me, it really knocked me out. I was just preparing to meet that storm danger. Better change fast. But as Clark hastily switches for action, and this news photo shows how the new hero, Lightning Man, dispersed the tornado threat by super action. What? Who's Lightning Man? How did he get superpowers? And what knocked me out like that? It couldn't have been kryptonite because I saw none for miles around. What's more, I keep close track of all kryptonite dangers, and the last was that big meteor containing kryptonite which approached Earth days ago. Can't let that meteor reach Earth, or crooks might get the kryptonite in it and use it against me. I'll knock it back into space. Within seconds, I was out of danger. That mountain I threw hit it and knocked it back. The meteor will never return to Earth. So no kryptonite reached Earth, which means something else knocked me out just when this new Lightning Man appeared to replace me. Maybe he did it to me? But how? And why? It's a worried Man of Steel who attends the next meeting of the Club of Heroes. So far, this new hero Lightning Man has topped you by his great feat, Superman. I shall invite him to join the club. I wonder, could that be the answer to the mystery? I'll consult Batman. When the meeting is over, and this Lightning Man could be faking super stunts by scientific means so that he can win chairmanship of the club. Remember, Mayhew will deed the clubhouse and its grounds to the chairman. That property's worth a fortune. It could be Lightning Man's motive. We'd better look into this. Back at Clark Kent's apartment, the greatest detective duo in the world investigates a super mystery. Something hit me and knocked me out. That's all I know. One of the drapes here is missing, as though torn away by some terrific force. But what force could this Lightning Man use to overpower me? That's what we've got to find out. You're scheduled to cover the test of the new atom plane today. We'll see if this thing happens to you again. Later, as Batman utilizes his scientific skill, it's time for me to switch to Superman and get that atom plane test. Go ahead. These instruments will detect any unusual force. If this Lightning Man tries to knock you out again, we'll know it. But ironically, at that moment, why, a force is hitting this apartment now, a radiation similar to that of kryptonite. Batman, look at Clark, he's passing out again. That proves it. Someone is deliberately knocking him out with that radiation. And that someone could be Lightning Man. Come on, we'll see if he shows up at that plane test. And as a big new atom-powered plane is launched, Since the Atom plane is remote controlled, it has no crew in it to run risks, and Superman agreed to watch over the test to prevent accidents. Here come Batman and Robin, but I don't see Superman yet. At that instant, there he is, Lightning Man. How did he get superpowers? That's a mystery, but it looks like he's knocking out Superman with radiation each time so he can perform big feats. And as a sudden danger arises, the power plant of the plane has run wild. It'll be a menace with its radiation if it crashes anywhere, but it can't hurt me. I'll make sure it's safely disposed. Moments later, in the crater of a long-extinct volcano, this will bury the deadly plane for all time, where its radiation can't leak out and harm anyone. You know, I'm starting to realize how much the world relies on superheroes, you know? They made an incredibly dangerous nuclear plane, and it immediately fails, and it's gonna explode. Like, right away. It's been in the air for like 5 minutes. They didn't even check to make sure Superman was actually there before they launched this plane that's gonna destroy a city or whatever. And, like, I don't know. It's fine. It's just like, you know, Superman's out clearing the roads when there's a landslide. He does away with storms as they come in. Like, would you want to live somewhere where a superhero was active? Because, like, more crime is there because people are trying to fight the heroes and stuff like that. But they also just fix everything all the time. It's pretty convenient, you know? Back at the airport. Thanks, Lightning Man. You prevented a disaster when Superman failed to show up. Now's our chance to find out his game. You've been made a member of our club, Lightning Man, so naturally you'll want to attend a meeting with us. Well, I can hardly refuse such an honor. Soon at the Club of Heroes, Lightning Man's greatest feats are outstanding, but all of you have done fine deeds, except Superman. We'll follow Lightning Man when he leaves to see if it's really he who's knocking out Superman. But when Lois Lane brings the famous lawman word of a new peril, dangerous convicts are being moved to the new Metropolis jail tomorrow, and the police fear a rescue attempt. Then we'll act as an added escort, won't we, Lightning Man? Why, certainly I'll be there. But where's Superman? What's happened to him? Can't tell you now, Lois. We have to hurry. Come on, Robin. They're like everyone else, running after this new Lightning Man now, while Superman is almost forgotten. We've got to keep Lightning Man in sight. But the super speed of this new hero is too much for the dynamic duo. It's no use, we can't follow anyone that fast. And we ought to get back to Clark and see if he's come out of it yet. Later, at Clark Kent's apartment. Yes, I just came out of my daze. It happened just as before. And the mysterious radiation that knocked you out came at the same time as before. That's funny. It must be this Lightning Man who's knocking me out. But how does he do it? I've got an idea about that. So I'm going to set up a different gadget, which will solve the mystery if it happens again tomorrow. Next day, as the hour of danger approaches. I'm ready to go with you other lawmen to escort that convict caravan. No, Superman, if that mysterious radiation hit you at the same time today, it could be disastrous to our escort plans. I want you to stay here as Clark Kent. Sure, I don't blame you for not wanting to rely on me, after the way I've failed everyone. It isn't that. I'll explain when we return. It's a strange feeling for the Man of Steel to sit idle while others face danger. I've never let people down before, but wait, that dizziness is beginning again. Batman was right. I'm starting to black out. Meanwhile, where famous lawmen escort dangerous convicts to a new prison, look, Batman, those tanks are coming out at us. Crooks have been secretly waiting in them to try to rescue their pals. We've got to break up the attempt. Muffle their ice-lit loopholes so they can't see out. Oui, then they will have to emerge in the open. These strips torn from our capes will bind the tanks, but they'll come out shooting now. Be ready. But before the tank's occupants can emerge, wow, Lightning Man is cleaning them up in one swoop. Now that you've stopped them, I'll take them along to prison fast. And very soon back at the Club of Heroes. Lightning Man, your feats have won you the chairmanship, so I've deeded the clubhouse property to you. Thanks. I must leave now. No use following him. We'll go back to Superman. Later, as Clark Kent has another strange awakening. It happened again. Who's doing this to me, Batman? No one is doing it. I want you as Superman to search the sky beyond Metropolis. As the Man of Steel swiftly combs the sky. Why, that's a chipped-off fragment of the kryptonite asteroid I knocked away days ago. It's been circling Earth ever since. After blowing the kryptonite into outer space with super breath, Superman returns to hear a startling explanation. Then every time that little kryptonite satellite went over Metropolis, it affected me. Yes, and it was the regularity of the time that made me suspect that. It didn't paralyze you, but was strong enough to give you amnesia each time. Yet, your strong instincts to prevent disaster and to keep your identity secret still moved you to action. Have to break up those tornado storms, but mustn't let anyone know who I am. This cloth will make a costume and mask for me. And so, unaware of who you really were, you yourself became Lightning Man. Job's finished. Got to hide this costume. No one must know my true identity. And each time when the kryptonite amnesia influence passed away, you couldn't remember that you'd been Lightning Man. Mind's a blank. Must have been unconscious all that time. I figured that was it, from the clue of the missing drape, and planted this automatic camera which photographed you changing to Lightning Man last time. But now that the kryptonite satellite's gone, it can't happen again, and I'll explain to the club. So back at the Club of Heroes later, you won the chairmanship fairly as Lightning Man, so we insist that as Superman, you keep it. I might have known all the time. No one could ever top Superman except himself. Okay, so, yeah, this one I guessed. Superman passes out. A Lightning Man with the same powers comes and does the same stuff. But it's because there is an orbiting kryptonite. And Superman, when he hit the kryptonite with the rock to, make sure it doesn't land on Earth, it got into a perfect one-day orbit of the Earth, and it would pass Metropolis. It goes perfectly straight. It didn't it doesn't go around Earth this way. A perfectly straight orbit at exactly 24 hours. And that's why Superman thought that it was a satellite. It's not a satellite. I mean, it is a satellite from a technical perspective, but not like a human-made satellite that's going to be an exact normal human time. It could have been 28 hours and been a little bit off, But this one was just, I really enjoyed how dumb it was. Just from the concept. So they started with an idea, I bet, of, hey, what if Superman loses his, he loses consciousness, but not really? What if Superman gets a little bit of kryptonite in him, which makes him forget he's Superman, but doesn't make him forget that he wants to use powers to save the world? That was the core idea of this issue, I bet. And then, hey, let's get all of the heroes together to give them a clubhouse was just a framework that they built around that. And that's really dumb. So the French superhero is summoned from France to go to this clubhouse where they're going to give it to Superman, but he gets to go there, I guess, so he can go on vacation and go fight crime in America sometimes. Why did they write this? I just don't know why. It's such a dumb thing. And I read this a long time ago because I was working on this channel more in the past, right? And I had this already picked out and done, at least, cut out all the panels and stuff. And I remember all of it because of how dumb it was. I don't remember a random issue that I read, but I remember this one because it was just so stupid. Obviously, it's Superman. I guess that from the start you probably did too. I forgot the detail about how he made his costume out of drapes. But he's Superman. He does everything super fast. So, he's on his way out to go stop a storm. He's got time to design a costume. And not just, block his face with a mask or something like that. To design a costume and go to it. I don't know. It was pretty dumb. But I enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So that is it for this one. If you are not subscribed, you should do so you can catch the next video. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I bet it's going to be amazing. And if you liked it, hit the like button. That helps me out. More people can see the channel that way. And that is it. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.